Today we're going to talk about diggers, the kind of diggers I use in the water, not my land hunting stuff. That's kind of a whole different ball game. But I want to show you the different picks I use and a couple of different fans, and I want to tell you why I use them and why you want to use something similar. And I'm also going to show you some things that you probably don't want to use, at least not for the type of hunting that you see in my videos. I have the thing set up over there, so let's just take a wander over. Okay, so here are two items you don't want to use in the rivers and the streams and the places that you see in my videos. First one is a shovel. Now this is a good sturdy Relic shovel and it's fine for land. Terrible in the water. What you end up doing is just jamming at the rocks and you're scraping them, and most Relics are down in the crevices. They'll work their way down, so you're just going right over the top, and with a guarantee within 5 minutes you will have thrown that aside. Now another thing people like to think they want to use in the rivers and the streams are scoops like this. This is a sand scoop that's typically used on the beach or in the water on the beach. It's great for that, but it's terrible for the streams and rivers with this rocks and stuff like that that you see in my videos. The reason being, same deal. You're trying to dig into the rocks. Relics are in the crevices. You're just scraping over the top. 5 minutes with this thing, you're going to throw it to the side. But it is great along the coast if you're in a sandy area. One thing I do recommend though, that if you're looking for relics, you need to make these holes smaller. Now what I did is took a piece of hardware cloth and I cut it. It's just a piece of metal with little tiny holes, and I wire tied it in there. That way the cuff buttons won't fall through, because those holes are big enough that cuff buttons will. So as you're shaking the sand out, there goes the cuff button. You keep doing it again and again. To be honest, I find it to be so much easier to just get your signal with your machine, turn your pinpointer on, go underwater, feel around with your other hand to get right up to it, and just pick it up. It takes seconds to do that. Whereas with this thing, you could fool around for a long time, unless you're really good with it. If you're in a river or a stream like you see in my videos, and you're hunting this sand where this is actually useful, you're in the wrong spot. You're not going to find squat there. You're going to find a lot of junk. I would recommend that you move away from that area, unless that's the only spot you have to dig, and then you might get lucky if you get deep enough. But yeah, let's move on to the good stuff. Okay, let's start with the fans. You've seen in my videos I take my hand like this a lot, and I'll just swipe like this. And what that does is it grabs the water and it forces all the silt and the sand away. Okay, the hand works great for that. Always wear a glove, otherwise you'll have cuts like me on all my fingers. So the hand works the best. Now if you wanted to get something else, some other type of fan, this is something I made up. This is some type of tool I think they use for drywall or something. So I put some magnets on it so that when I'm fanning, all the nails and stuff will just fly right to it and I don't have to mess around looking for them. Now another thing people use, or at least they tell me they use, are ping pong paddles, which I guess you just put a hole in it and you can put it on your belt and just fan with a ping pong paddle. So either that or something like this will work great. I prefer the hand. Okay, before we get to good picks, let's get to bad picks. This is one that I purchased from Lowe's or Home Depot or something many years ago. And the problem you'll run into with a lot of those type of picks is they're made out of soft metal. So the ends get rounded off very quickly. See how rounded that is? So when you're digging in the bedrock and whatnot, this is just bouncing off the cracks. And it's just not a very effective pick to dig with. The ones I'm going to show you next are made with high carbon steel, so they're very hard. So yeah, so I understand Garrett actually makes a pick with a magnet on the end of it, although I have never actually used it. I have seen one, so I can't really comment on whether or not it's any good. I wish I could tell you guys, but I just don't know. But don't get one of these. Get what's coming up next. Okay, so now we're down to the picks. This is a pick that I use a lot. Okay, this is one that I actually purchased when I was prospecting up in Alaska. I have no idea where you could find one of these nowadays. Okay, it has a wooden handle that I've had to replace a few times. I've been using this pick for probably a decade. This is a magnet on the end that I put on there. Now, a lot of the magnets that you buy, don't have holes in them, so you have to figure out a way to fasten them to the shaft. What I did is I bought a end cap, a copper end cap from the hardware store or from Lowe's. I drilled a hole in the end cap, screwed a hole down into the wood here, and then glued the magnet inside of it. And that has worked great for years and years and years. Now, if you don't want to go through the hassle of looking for all these parts, and quite frankly, like I said, I don't even know where you can find them, you can just buy one ready-made. I have a buddy that makes these, and I'll put his web page up on the introduction to this video, and also I guess I'll just put it on the screen. But he sells two types of picks, and these picks are awesome. Okay, here's a little one that he sells, and when you buy it, he'll have a wooden handle just like this, and he makes the heads himself. And you'll see that I'm not sure how he makes them, what he makes them out of, but they're really tempered steel, and they're great. They work really well. And he always has a magnet on the end. Now he uses smaller magnets, because the picks he makes are actually for prospectors. And prospectors out in the desert, you know, they're looking for little gold nuggets. When they get a piece of iron, like a nail like this, that's all they're trying to get rid of is a nail. So they'll sweep that over the dirt to get rid of the small nail. So he uses a smaller magnet, which is fine, but it's probably, you know, I like using a bigger magnet for relics because I want to be able to actually pick up axes and cannonballs and stuff like that. So if you get one from him, it's going to look like this, but with a slightly smaller magnet. Now, I love this little tool. It's very lightweight, and I thought that's all I'd ever use. But then he talked me into trying this bigger one the other day. And this thing is awesome. I mean, it is like the best thing since sliced bread. I can't believe I'd never tried this before. So it's basically like the small one, except it's got a wider blade. And why that is good is that when you're digging, I mean, you're holding the handle like this, but you can also grab it like here, and you can like rake the stuff back. So if there's any sand or little small rocks, you can rake it right back. If you get a bigger rock, you can flip it around. See how sharp that is? That's perfect, because you get right down in the crevices and you can like pop the rocks out. So this big one is the cat's meow, no doubt. If I had to buy another one, this is what I would buy every time. I love the little one because it's lightweight, but this thing is just, it's just perfect for this. Now, when he sells them, they too come with a wooden handle and a smaller magnet. I put a piece of pipe on here because I wanted to try to make it a little more lightweight. So I went to Lowe's and I got it, you know, well, actually I had it in my basement. I got a little piece of pipe, and I put a giant magnet on it. Now this thing is rated for like 350 pounds, this thing right here. But again, there's no way to fasten it to the pick. So what I had to do is get a series of pipes, and I used the end cap for here, and then got another pipe that I glued the end cap to this, another pipe glued to the end cap, and I got a bigger piece of pipe glued to this piece of pipe, and also put a screw in it. And then I put some epoxy. Well, actually I used, on this one I used something called liquid metal or something like that. And it holds it really, really tight. But this is a huge magnet. And it makes a really good tool. I don't think I could pry really big rocks with it because, again, it is plastic. But it's fairly lightweight, and it's solid so that it has air in it. So it doesn't really float, but it is lightweight, and it just, oh man, I just love it. I mean, it's like a weapon when you're on the water with this thing. When you get them, these things are very sharp, so be careful. I actually ground mine down just a little bit, but that's a great tool right there, and I'll show you how to use it. Okay, this is a shell from the Civil War. This is actually a Confederate mullein shell. Weighs about, it's got water in it, and it weighs about 8 pounds. But even with this smaller pick, with that little smaller magnet, if I'm going along the river, looking for stuff, and you hit it, I mean, it grabs it, and you can lift it right up, no problem at all. So, but a lot of times when you find these shells, they'll have a cocoon on them, which might be 1/4 of an inch, might be 2 inches thick, which is basically just cemented gravel and mud. And so it's sometimes hard to pick up. But with this big magnet, I got to show you this thing. This thing is awesome. This big magnet here is almost scary, actually. Listen to this. Oh yeah, that thing is going nowhere. Look at that, baby. So, but again, with a cocoon, and to get it off of that, if you like pulled on it, it would be very difficult to get off. So what you need to do is just bend it like that and then pull it off, so it's not so bad. I wanted to show you. This is a 20-pounder I found the other day. This is a 20-pound parrot. See where I drilled it, and so the thing weighs like about 20 pounds actually. But even with it, even a 20-pounder, watch this. You can pick up a 20-pounder with that, no problem at all. Isn't that sweet? You can't even knock it off. But again, you just kind of bend it like that, and it'll come right off. So that's it. That's in a nutshell. I'd recommend these picks right here. This is the one. I would just go ahead and order it from that guy. If I ever have to get another one, that's what I'll do. And you know, you can just get the wood, I guess, but I just like the plastic. I want to try something different, so but I get the bigger one. The little one is much lighter though, and it's a good pick too. I like it as well. All right, that's it. Well, I hope it made sense. If you have any questions, just go ahead and ask away. I'll tell you what I know. Oh, let me show you one other thing. You can't laugh at this. Promise me. Promise me you're not going to laugh. Look at this. This is actually a little protector I had to make for this magnet. And for that magnet too, you need to be careful. But what I do is I slide this thing over the end of it, because when you're carrying this thing around, if you're near your truck and you walk by your truck, that magnet will just slam right over into the side of your truck and put a huge dent in it, and then a bunch of scratches when you pull it off. So with a giant magnet like that, I would definitely recommend making something like this. And that's just a couple pieces of foam I made and threw some nails in it. But even with a smaller one like this, if you're near your car or your truck, that thing will slam right into the side and mar it badly. Trust me, I've done that. So alright, that's it for picks. Now I'm going to do some more videos on some other things that I use, to include boots, which are very important. And I'm going to show you how I rigged my boots up for water hunting. It's awesome. I mean, I just can't believe I came up with this, but it looks terrible. Okay, so we'll do boots next.